Live from the local station, this is Weather Authority Weekday.
All right, well, good Tuesday morning, everyone. Meteorologist Chris Holtzman here. It certainly has been a very cold morning. We had temperatures in the 20s. When you factor in the wind chill generally in the teens and 20s. So certainly bundled up this morning. In fact, let's take a look at some of our low temperatures that we were at this morning. And yeah, hard to believe, by the way, I was saying on air, just a couple days ago, we were near 90. So it goes to show we're still in winter. Mother Nature's reminding us of that. And temperatures this morning, widespread freeze with most of us, at least 95% of the area below freezing in the upper 20s to low 30s. 28 this morning at McCletty, 28 at Jacksonville, 31 at St. Mary's, St. Augustine right at 34 this morning, 30 in Palatka, Lake City upper 20s for the morning. Now, in terms of our forecast as we advance, well, we are tracking more sunshine. A live look here, Julington Creek, where we are tracking a bit of a breeze. That fire weather threat is elevated due to the dry ground, the low humidity, and the wind, so just be aware of that. Temperature right around 41. Still feels like 39 when you factor in that wind, and the wind is light and variable at the moment. But again, that wind chill at one point was in the 20s across our area. Live look here, Jacksonville Beach, where we are tracking once again. Certainly sunshine with an area of high pressure over the region, so that sunshine will keep us dry, and that's due to that area of high pressure over us. You can see the waves as well, a bit windy with that area of high pressure nearby. Live look over downtown Jacksonville, Riverside camera here. And again, fully sunny with the temperature right around 45 degrees, feeling like 43 when you factor in the wind. St. Augustine, more of the same, 45. Wind chill 43 degrees, as I mentioned, over Jacksonville as well, with those temperatures in the 40s. So our setup that we have in place, that area of high pressure is moving in from the north. Remember, air around high pressure spins like a clock. So as a result, that clockwise direction allows that northerly flow to move in. As that high starts to move east later this week, we'll get into a southerly wind, and that'll bring in warmer temperatures starting tomorrow all the way through the end of the week. So we're tracking warmer weather on the way. And at the same time, even another chance for some rain as well. Temperatures, though, right now, a nice rebound out there, looking at 40s to right around 50 degrees across our area. So again, temperatures are on the way up with that sunshine, up to 45 now in Jacksonville, 43 in Mayport. It's 43 in St. Mary's, 41 in Waycross, 45 in St. Augustine. Palatka, we're in the upper 40s. The wind is calming down. It's still a bit elevated. Again, it doesn't take much to make those temperatures feel lower, and winds are gusting up to about 15 to 20. But the wind chill, again, for most of us, upper 30s to low 40s across the region. So over the next couple of hours, looking at our forecast through the afternoon, we are keeping that sunshine around with highs near 60 degrees. It will be clear, and temperatures about 10 degrees or so below normal. Average highs around 70, so we are below that across our area. But at least we have that sunshine around to certainly warm us up by the afternoon. Now, Futurecast shows we do see an uptick in cloud cover by Wednesday. Starting out the day sunny, more clouds moving for the day. Temperatures, well, we do have a frost advisory, by the way, in effect, generally along and west of I-95. That's for tonight. As temperatures will generally drop into the low to even mid-30s, and with a calmer wind, frost will be a possibility. So be aware of that. I'm not expecting a widespread freeze, but frost will be around for the morning commute. In fact, there's a look at your frost advisory for Wednesday morning. Again, generally along and west of I-95 and 295, and that is in effect until about 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. So temperatures overnight will be chilly, but again, just note that we are looking at least not as much wind as what we saw this morning. Now, temperatures, wind chill values into the 50s. By the afternoon as that wind subsides, and high temperatures as we head into our day tomorrow. We'll look at these numbers. We're looking at highs in the low 70s for many locations. So we start our warming trend as we head into the day on Wednesday, and that continues even into the end of the week as we start to see a better chance for a few showers across our area. Now, Futurecast shows throughout the day, clouds will likely build a bit more over our area. Notice we're looking at a southerly wind on Wednesday, or at least a southwesterly wind, and that brings in warmer temperatures with highs, as I mentioned, Wednesday near 70. We certainly need the rain, though, as most of our area is in an extreme drought, so that drought continues to expand in coverage, and deficits are approaching 15 to even 20 inches of rain or more in many spots. Now, the good news, we do have some rain in the forecast, generally under an inch. But again, we'll take anything that we can get across our area as we are tracking a front. So our setup that we have over the next few days as we advance in, you will notice into tonight, high pressure is already offshore. We get a southerly wind on Wednesday. Now we're watching the timing of that front to our north. Some of the models stall it out to our north as we head into the day on Friday, which will keep most of the rain to our north. But let me show you what this model is showing and what we're looking at as we head into Wednesday. Well, we're dry. Thursday as well. Clouds will likely build, but then here comes that front by Friday. Now this model keeps the heaviest of the rain Friday to our north until later in the afternoon. An area of low pressure will likely develop along that front, and that can bring some moderate to heavy rain Friday night into Saturday morning. So we're keeping a very close eye on that system. But again, one thing we're looking at with that front is that'll bring beneficial rainfall to our area. And regardless of what we get, we'll certainly take anything in the forecast. Now, beyond that, we're keeping that warmer pattern around. In fact, you can see our temperature outlook into March. Look at that. Those reds indicating a better chance of above normal temperatures, greater than 70, which is around our average high for this time of year. So it is looking very warm as we head into March. That cold is locked up to the north. In terms of precip outlook, again, that's our rainfall outlook. And again, no big signal of widespread above normal temperatures or rainfall, at least I should say rainfall. Temperatures likely above normal, but in terms of our rain, not seeing any significant washouts in terms of our forecast. So as we break down our forecast, we'll kind of go through each day. Starting with today, upper 50s will be around, and then near 60, low 70s on Wednesday. And notice that frost is possible Wednesday morning. So take note of that. We do have a frost advisory in effect. By Thursday, we'll have temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. So a warmer day out there with increasing clouds. And then Friday, we'll have to watch exactly when that front moves in. The morning could be dry, and then rain moves in later in the day. So we'll have to fine tune the timing of that. But still looking very warm. Temperatures low 70s over the weekend, and then looking like we'll stay in the 70s by early next week. And those overnight lows, well, you will notice they are on the way up. So we're in the 30s for tomorrow morning. And then over the next couple of mornings, 50s will be common to near 60 degrees across our area. So again, we are warming up over the next few days. That fire weather threat remains elevated, at least for the rest of the day and on Wednesday. So use extreme caution if you'll be outside. Make sure to take note of those burn bans in place. And then we also are tracking that better chance for rain later in the week into the upcoming weekend. So a fairly quiet forecast in the short term here in Florida and Georgia. But what about across the country as we head through the extended week? I'll break down the forecast across the country after this short break. All right, welcome back everyone. Meteorologist Chris Holtzman here. Let's take a look across the country right now because we are tracking chilly temperatures. 40s all the way down to Florida here, and then we do have some 50s and even 60s and 70s, where we do have that area of high pressure overhead, but for the most part, colder temperatures are around. And the big story, our overall setup for today, more rain expected across the Pacific Northwest. And by the way, across portions of Hawaii, which have been influenced by this upper level jet stream, there's plenty of rain. In fact, there's been island-wide flooding reported in Hawaii. Let's head over there to see how much rain folks are receiving over the past couple of days.
Weather has been keeping people on their toes lately. Just weeks after strong winds swept across the state, heavy rain is now the main concern.
A few weeks ago, it was the wind that was very concerning. So now it's the rain that's heavy downpour.
The rain is quickly filling up parts of Oahu.
Some parts of Haleiwa that are flooding. We've got a few homes already in the Haleiwa, Wailua area that are, pretty high water.
Emergency officials say the ground is already saturated.
A lot of heavy rain came down real quick.
And all eyes are on the reservoirs.
Dam safety folks, what kind of thresholds we'll look at for evacuation? The reservoirs are filling.
The biggest concern, the Wahiawa Reservoir, with runoff pouring down from the Ko'olau.
A lot of rain, a lot of water coming down from the Ko'olaus, and of course the concern is the Wahiawa Reservoir.
It's a reminder of the devastating flood in 2021 that forced nearly 4,000 Haleiwa residents to evacuate.
The last incident was really scary because it happened a lot faster. This seems to be much more of a slow burn. and I'm hoping that it peters out soon.
For now, officials say the reservoir and spillway are holding steady, but the community remains on alert.
They've assured us that for now, the reservoir is okay, the spillway is okay, and they're just monitoring the situation. I just think that we have to be ready to leave if it comes to that eventuality.
Emergency management officials stress preparedness is key.
Preparedness is vital. The better prepared we are, we become survivors and not victims.
Leaders are also urging people to stay home and asking visitors to avoid the North Shore while conditions remain uncertain.
We don't need any more people in our community that we might have to take care of if things get worse.
Yeah, so that atmospheric river, that's that plume of moisture extending hundreds of miles, is now moving on to California. So across California and the state there, we do have heavy rain expected, and flash flooding concerns are elevated as well. So into California, we're tracking more rain, and that's that same system that was impacting Hawaii. Now to the east, we're tracking some snow across portions of the Michigan area as an upper level system is bringing moisture there. And speaking of snow, by the way, folks in Pennsylvania, the dogs were enjoying the snow. So this is a really cool package that we have for you. It shows everybody getting outside and enjoying all of the snow they received. Let's head over to Pennsylvania with the latest.
Delaware Valley residents all saw the same thing when they woke up this morning.
A lot of snow.
Too much.
But that didn't stop furry Northern Liberties residents from helping the thaw with their paws.
Hi! Good girl! Little furry friend Finn is getting a little bit of exercise.
It looks like he's having a lot of fun out here.
I think so.
From wagging tails, fetch, to pup angels, these excited dogs woke up their parents early for a walk in the snow. Like this Shiba named Rocco.
Mommy's a good mommy waking up just to take you for a walk.
Let me sleep in, bud. Yeah, it's a snow day, but we have to go out for a walk, and he does like the snow. He grew up in the suburbs, so snow, inches, feet tall, he would run, jump through them like a little prairie dog.
This energetic pup's name is Reno. Only 6 months old, she's finally getting her first big snow day with mom, Kristen. Reno was unable to play in the last snowstorm due to the conditions.
She was not like in the ice. I don't think it didn't feel good with her paws, and now it's nice and fluffy, so she's been diving in and out all day. She hops in and out like a deer. Those long extremities are finally getting put to use.
One canine friend even helping kids play in the snow.
This is his favorite. He thrives in this weather. He's been out for 30 minutes and we were out. People were making snowmans and he was finding all the sticks for us.
With light, fluffy snow, Northern Liberties is filled with dogs running miles and very big snowmen smiles.
Yeah, that's snow, perfect for making snowmen, but yeah, the dogs certainly enjoying getting out in the snow and running around in it. But yeah, pretty snowy there. By the way, turning back to California, because all of that rain and snow melt has prompted flooding concerns across the state of California. So let's head over there to see about the flooding in place, because this is a concern not only for today, but over the next few days. And that is the snowmelt prompting concerns in South Lake Tahoe. So we'll head over there with the latest information.
It's been days of clearing snow and ice in South Lake Tahoe. Now, instead of removing it from the roads,
we're really more concerned about the melting of the snow and all of that water that's going to come from the rain combining to create flooding conditions in various parts of the city.
City crews focusing on storm drains on busy boulevards.
When the water does start flowing, it can flow into the drains and hopefully go out the way it's intended to, rather than being blocked up and not being able to go out.
Steve Tibble's using the break in the weather to get the feet of snow off his roof, preventing ice jams.
You know, there's heaters in the gutter, but the snow migrates down.
Tibbles lives in a neighborhood that sees flooding after the snow from big storms starts melting. And now rain in the forecast bringing even more challenges.
And there's no drainage. I mean, they built this house right across the fall line, and it all just runs right up to Michael and puddles up.
The city's encouraging residents to be ready. That's why they've set up 2 free sandbag stations so folks can protect their homes and businesses.
We're anticipating they will see flooding, and it's just a question of how much, not if.
In South Lake Tahoe, Michelle Bandur, KCRA 3 News.
And that'll kind of be a concern as well for areas to the northeast with the snow they received. There was a very high moisture content, and we kind of ran something yesterday about that as well with that can promote respiratory issues if you shovel that, especially with that heavy weight of the snow. But again, we're looking at the threat for, as that snow melts, some flooding off into the northeast. Now, locally, our wind potential is elevated, but it's extremely elevated across the south. In fact, over Texas and New Mexico, there's an increased chance for strong winds and low humidity. And by the way, you don't need me to tell you the temperature below normal out there today, especially this morning when we started out in the 20s and 30s. We're looking at that trough in the east, ridge in the west, and that ridge brings warmer temperatures all the way from California up into the plains. Now, into the day on Wednesday, very similar setup to areas to our west across California, Nevada, up into Oregon, where we are tracking once again that upper level system bringing heavy rain to the Pacific Northwest. And you can see some of that rainfall accumulation through Thursday. Well, yeah, you're looking at some spots picking up a significant amount of rain. In fact, some of those numbers over about 4 to 6 inches of rain, but across the higher elevations, we are dealing with snow. And that's why some of those totals you can see up to about a foot or more of snow in those locations. Now, our overall setup throughout the day Wednesday, that upper level system track, the jet stream will dive down, so that'll bring a better chance for some rain across the Midwest and across the east, where we don't want to see more snow. Well, there's more snow there, and we are looking at certainly some snow around. By the way, portions of Rhode Island picked up, TF Green in Providence, the airport there, picked up over 3 feet of snow, beating their record for snowfall from a storm. Previous record, the blizzard of 78. So if you're from the Northeast, you certainly remember the blizzard of 1978. That broke several records, and this system was just as historic there. In terms of additional snowfall through Thursday morning, most of the snow should be across Canada and across the upper elevations there of some of the mountains across Pennsylvania into West Virginia. And temperatures on Wednesday, very cold out there. In fact, wind chills could fall below 20 degrees below zero across the plains. And the cold will be locked up to the north the next few days and really weeks for that matter. We're looking fairly warmer here in Florida, but again, we're looking at windy conditions and even chilly conditions around across the area. And that means several days will go by and cleanup will continue from this blizzard. In fact, folks in New Jersey continue to clean up from the blizzard. And take a look at some of these shots. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, look at how tall some of that snow is. And when you factor in the wind, it makes snow drifts much larger. But again, you see folks digging out there, and some of the cars were completely covered in the snow. And that is courtesy of all of the snow those folks received last, we'll say the last 48 hours or so. Look at them clearing the cars out. And just imagine how New York City looks, especially with some of the streets being very narrow. And that's why it takes time to clear the snow across the area. In fact, in New York, a winter storm broke the record in Central Park. Yeah, there was snow in Central Park, and that allowed for, once again, records to fall. In fact, look at all of that snow there in Central Park, weighing the trees down, and that's why power outages is certainly a threat there. You can see folks getting out and seeing how snowy it is across the area there. So that's something that we're looking out for, because again, it will take time for that snow to melt, as temperatures will be very cold across the Northeast over the next week. But back to the rest of the country, we do have another chance for the fire potential. Now, here locally it is elevated, but over in Texas and New Mexico, even higher with that stronger wind around. And our temperature set up on Wednesday, looking at generally near normal temperatures in Florida. Across the west, we're continuing to see those warmer temperatures. Those yellows, or rather those oranges, indicate the above normal temperatures around. And a look ahead over the next 3 days, we are tracking a system to the north, so there's that initial burst of some snow. Wednesday, we do have rain and snow likely as a system moves through the northeastern United States. And then by Thursday, there comes that front, and that will stall to our north, but it should be pushing through late Friday into Saturday. And that brings in beneficial rainfall into our area, which we certainly need after seeing a rainfall deficit of around 15 to 25 inches across our area. By the way, I do want to talk about something in space. This is pretty interesting. And across space, well, there's some new research that came out, and this has to do with Saturn and the rings. So what this is, well, after analyzing data from various sources, researchers theorized that about 500 million years ago, a lost moon collided with Titan, and that became part of Titan. So you've heard of Titan. Saturn has plenty of moons, but the collision could also have led to the formation of Saturn's beautiful rings hundreds of millions of years later. Now, the theory will be tested using NASA's Dragonfly. This is very interesting. This is a car-sized rotorcraft that will fly over Titan's surface and land in different spots to collect and analyze data. And that aircraft is scheduled to launch in 2028 and arrive on Titan by late 2034. It's just mind-boggling to think how long it takes some of our man-made objects to get to certain objects in space. It goes to show you how big space is. But again, some new research showing that moon or some object collided with Titan, and that allowed for the moon to become bigger and help form the rings of Saturn. Also want to end with the Artemis launch. I mentioned yesterday, NASA has to bring the aircraft back into the facility. It looks like there's an issue with one of the fueling tanks with regards to helium. So now the earliest this mission will launch is April. Again, it was supposed to launch in February this month, a couple weeks ago, but because of the delays, it has been pushed back. And it looks like, again, April will be the earliest time frame, pending any further delay of a launch from this system, from the aircraft. So that's something we're monitoring. Of course, any repair needs to be done before they're cleared for launch. And at the earliest now, April will be the launch window for this mission. And then on top of that, we also have a lunar eclipse next week. So we'll be talking about that, a total eclipse. And the next one will not be visible across anywhere in the world for several years. So certainly tracking that on Tuesday, and we'll talk about that later this week and early next week. But again, here on Earth, we're tracking locally in southeast Georgia, northeast Florida, drier weather around through the middle of the week, and then a better chance for rain later this week. And then we are tracking as well on top of that, warmer temperatures with highs back in the 70s as well. So we'll be here at noon with the latest forecast, and also this evening with the latest model information. Of course, you can always get the latest forecast on air, online, and on our weather app. And I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday.
See why every day more people are choosing News4JAX, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.